What I know to be true is if you're an athlete, you're still a performer. And there is this universal theme of what it means to be a performer. And I think like the notion of preparing yourself for a moment, building habits and instincts and really rewiring your brain. And I think that was my way into um, Gentle Barbarians.
I know we can't get too much into the story of Gentle Barbarians, but maybe just hearkening back a little bit to what we were talking about before about our inspirations and this on the surface of it, unless there's more to the story, was this kind of inspired by that love for I don't know, the Stallone kind of characters, the action stories that we grew up with as kids? Is that what kind of drove you into wanting to kind of create this story? What inspired it, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
It's funny you mentioned Stallone. True story. I actually intentionally I'd seen Creed and a lot of boxing movies, but for whatever reason, I had never seen Rocky before writing the script, and I kind of kept it that way until I finished because I wanted to be blissfully ignorant to it. But I have seen it now. But while writing the script, I actually hadn't seen it. The what inspired it was that's such an interesting question. What inspired it? I think like the reason I find that question interesting is because nothing like I wouldn't say the screenplay was that came to life due as a result of inspiration. It was almost like it just feels like logic, quite frankly, because I think it was a little more calculated. It's interesting. I'm like trying to reflect on how things came to be. It's like such a blur now. It almost feels so organic. But um, again, like in terms of writing, the advice that I really had taken to heart was write what you know. But I think Vin Diesel did this. I know like he made a short film about him being a struggling actor and not being able to get work, and that kind of started his career and got him cast in Saving Private Ryan. But I just didn't want to do a story where like I'm playing an actor. I think it's a little too a little overdone, and um again, like going back to like a challenge and stuff like that, it almost felt too easy. um so going back to what like I'd spent my whole life doing some form of martial arts. um but what I know to be true is if you're an athlete, you're still a performer. And there is this universal theme of what it means to be a performer. And I think like the notion of preparing yourself for a moment, building habits and instincts and really rewiring your brain. And I think that was my way into um, Gentle Barbarians and that side of it, being pertained to mixed martial arts. Like I think I found it. That's what I'm enamored with, the idea
Mhm.
of instinct. Um, so that's kind of how it came to be in that
Yeah,
sense.
and I guess sometimes as a person who's been in those circumstances where you're getting ready to face an opponent, or it's a whatever form of martial art or fighting. I used to wrestle when I was in high school.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of emotion tied into that, like anticipation and the nerves and facing off with an opponent where you haven't tested their strength against your own yet, so you don't know how things are going to play out exactly, whether you're going to need to be more tactical or use more brute force. And as much as those are very primal things, I think in a way that those because we almost take them for granted. They can be massive inspirations for very large parts of a storyline, you know, that they inform
Mm,
a lot about a potential character, because as an actor, you can kind of take these primal sensations, the self-doubt, you know, you may only experience it in reality in the moment that you're standing on the mat, but as a story, you can carry that self-doubt through, you know, a whole set of scenes or sequences when it comes to a character, and it gives you a lot to draw
mm,
on, even if you're not someone who's come up off the streets, let's say, or what have you, and you know, doesn't really know whether you can measure up to a guy who's well funded and highly trained, and you're kind of scrappy, and but it's amazing what how that expands outward when you're a writer, and you can take those primal
yeah.
experiences and really relate to a lot of people in a lot of situations.
Yeah, there's such a dynamic like contrast for that too. Like what's so interesting about those experiences is like you are so at the time you are so in the moment, nothing else matters, but you blink and they finish and they end up you end up living those moments through reflection and anticipation more so rather than, you know, how much time you actually spent doing it.
Right.
So yeah, that's and I remember funny, this I can mention. I remember being on set and chatting with you about your wrestling days and giving some advice to Dempsey and I on how to get a little more cut through like water retention and sodium and all those like, you know, intricacies. So fun little story.
Yeah, those were some painful moments sometimes. Yeah. Well, I'm sure
Oh yeah.
some of those tactics were probably done in MMA stuff too, because you know, the going in a sauna with garbage bags on, and trying to like remove water. A lot of people don't know about the sodium part of that, but that's another element of it. And yeah, you can I remember hearing about a guy that lost 20 pounds in preparation for his competition experience, and then put the weight on within, you know, 24 hours of just sort of reintroducing fluids, and very unhealthy. You know, some people have even died doing that stuff, but it's incredible the advantage it can give on a weight class basis. But anyway, I digress.
Oh yeah.
Um, where and when can people see Gentle Barbarians? And I know it's still going probably through the editing process right now, and sort of how that's timed out maybe makes it a bit of an unknown factor. But is there anything known about whether it's teaser releases, even on the web stuff? Is there anything you can tell us at this point on when and where they can see something of the film?
Right now we're editing. I think that I want the actual picture done. No, actually, like I want the film complete by the end of the year. The truth is, I actually don't know. I think the goal is to, it will, I think it will be out in 2025 for sure. Um, because I want to get it out by then. I really don't want to wait too long. And the goal is to explore the film festival circuit. The Right now we're looking at Sundance. There's a chance that we'll be able to make the deadline, but I'm not 100% sure on that. If not, then it would be great to go to Cannes because I have a lot of family and friends in France as well. Um, but yeah, in terms of a teaser, all that, like I honestly don't know. I saw that on some of your questions that you sent me, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, what should I say for this answer? And the truth is, I actually don't know. Um, and even in terms of you know, how to, I don't want to jump the gun on one of your questions, but like in terms of like how to keep in touch with myself, like
Mhm.
I I don't really have a lot of I don't have any social media publicly. I kind of try to stay away from that stuff, but um I would just say stay tuned and it'll pop up on your algorithms and timelines, you know,
Yeah, well, I
soon
guess
enough.
just
I
remember
can
the name Gentle Barbarians, and if you're wanting
remember
to
the
look
name.
that up, yeah, and I guess that was
Exactly.
it, because I know at the early stages, some people will put up, you know, just a web a website with a, coming soon, and other people will just leave it so that it's all a big surprise for people when there's a big announcement that comes out. So both ways are totally legit. So
Exactly.
for now, it's just remember the name Gentle Barbarians. Is that
Gentle Barbarian.
good?
That's
Okay.
fair. That's fair to say for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so then assuming that we're going to get that announcement down the road, and it's going to be amazing and things are going to go great. Is there something else that's sort of cooking in the back of your brain about what's happening next, assuming that everything takes off with Gentle Barbarians at least fairly well? And I know there's a lot that could is hard to predict on that one in the business, is the timing of releases, and all of that. But is there something that you have in mind for what you either, whether it's a plan A or plan B? What do you think might be happening next for you?
I will write and direct again. I've already started developing my next screenplay. So that will happen for sure. I absolutely adored this experience and I'm so excited to do it again. And my goal is just intertwined with my hopes, which is I hope to continue acting. I hope to be on, whether it be the movie screen or the silver screen. I think those are two different things. Silver screen is television, correct?
Yes, well,
Yeah. So to be in
I guess
television,
the
yeah,
silver screen would be back in the black and white days. They would call that the silver screen era. So yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, but the silver screen would still qualify as cinema these
Be
days.
television.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I digress. The goal is, yeah, I love to act, and I just hope to continue acting on and meet my goals, play some interesting characters, and take on big challenges. Again, I wish I had a more interesting answer, but as we know, like we are at the mercy of what's available in the industry. Um, so
Well,
but
that's
that's out of
totally.
my control.
I was just going to say
Yeah,
that's totally legitimate because I mean this as an actor, um, this is all about kind of a momentum process. I mean, granted, it's infused with the sincerity of the stories you want to tell, but we love acting, and so when we get hired for the gig, it's awesome. When you get to craft what you've done and create a story and put yourself, you know, deeply into a story you believe in, it's all part of, moving where the momentum takes you, I guess, too. Like one of the ways I did some research on you before this was just digging through your IMDb a little bit, and you've got some amazing just scenes that I've been able to suss out in terms of watching the clips of you perform and things like that. And of course, I've seen you working and interacting with people on set as a director, and you were very open and gracious. That's one of the things I was really impressed by, because you're very collaborative that way. Some people get very rigid about how they want to, but you really knew how to work with actors, which was great. And some of those were not easy situations. I won't give anything away, but they were tough situations, and you were again very
yeah.
collaborative in those situations. And so on both fronts, that was one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because yeah, this is all part of that flow or river of opportunity that opens up as you continue to step forward, I think, and do the acting work, put some of your own material out, and what comes next. As long as you're moving, the world is moving with you. So yeah, I mean, I read you on that front. That's at least that's how I see it. It's when we sit down and kind of wait that things start to stagnate, and you're certainly not doing that.
Thank you. And yeah, I just like to say, I think there's no other. To me, there's no other option other than to collaborate, because I think what is so true is the notion of two brains being better than one, and three brains being better than one, and so on and so forth. And you know that was it's just such a joy. It's such a joy to hear people take this world and this idea that you've poured yourself into over years so seriously, and bring it to life. It's genuinely a magical experience. So to you personally, I say thank you. I know the exact difficult situation you're probably thinking of, and one day we'll get to, when the movie's out, we'll get to like dive into it specifically, but it
Right.
was such a joy. And you know, I gotta say, I loved your character just on the page like so much. That was like one of my favorite characters, and I was so excited to see him brought to life. And I can say, you know, Coach Johnson, CJ for short, is your character in Gentle Barbarians. Uh, and yeah, I'm just really excited for everyone to see
Yeah,
what
well, I'm really looking
what
forward
we
to
have.
seeing how it comes out. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun to be involved, and I really enjoyed playing Coach Johnson, CJ, and had a lot of laughs and the right kind of intense moments and everything. Some curveballs that
Hmm.
were unexpected and really engaging to kind of get involved in. So I'm really curious to see how that all comes out in the edit.
For sure. And like I said, I remember yeah, I'm excited for the day that we can get more specific into the stories that happen. Um but yeah, it's yeah, what a privilege to again like see something. It's really surreal to see something that, you know, you just had in your head and then on a page and then, you know, now coming to life. It truly, it's you know, I guess the closest thing that, yeah, you're putting something into the world that just wasn't there before. It's a really really surreal thing, truly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I will say, even though you're a humble guy when it comes to not blasting out, where to get all the added attention, that people probably can track you down to some degree through IMDb, and your agent contact information is there, and some of the stuff you've done, although things that are yet to come out are probably not all going to be up there, which is always smart to kind of keep a lid on some of those. But check Amir out that way and keep an eye out for him in the media in general, because he has been in circulation here, and excited to see this Gentle Barbarians film come out. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close off for the day?
Once again, I'm really excited for people to see you in the movie, and I want to say thank you for, you know, bringing me here today, and just for being such a gamer on set. It was such a joy to work with you. Um, and anything else? Yeah, I think that's it. Like, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on, like, and for asking these questions. It was so wonderful to chat with you.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure, Amir, and everyone, check it out, or keep yourselves tuned in for Gentle Barbarians. For now, that's where we're going to close it off today. Remember, fight the darkness, put truth in story, and we will see you next time.